Hello and welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Thursday's edition of the DCEU Daily, the only DC show that covers article upon article and keeps you updated. But I don't just read the articles, I give you my opinions. I'm not here to sit on the fence so much that you can see me limping up the street. So we will be covering our main story today, that Batfleck was married to Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman, in the DCEU pre-Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice. But first I want to cover the Peacemaker chat, the castings and things like that, because I think it's very, very important. I was excited with James Gunn's involvement from the very first moment I heard about it with the Suicide Squad. I just think he's a very talented guy, whether you like him or not, like his politics or not, or what he says, doesn't matter. He's going to give us a great movie and a great spin-off TV series as well. So I'm very excited to start really giving you all the news about that. So let's go. So basically, first off, Screen Rant have done an article talking about the Peacemaker being in the DCEU universe. Now, of course, this is obvious. James Gunn has confirmed that the John Cena-led Peacemaker show featuring the titular character from the Suicide Squad will take place in the DCEU. James Gunn confirms that the upcoming Peacemaker show starring John Cena's character from the Suicide Squad will indeed take place in the DCEU. Of course, that is obvious because James Gunn's The Suicide Squad is in the DCEU because it is a continuation, like it or not, of David Ayer's original Suicide Squad as well. So, yeah, definitely within the DCEU. Cena is one of the new additions to the Suicide Squad, and not quite sequel, not quite reboot follow-up to the David Ayer-directed 2016 film. Peacemaker is set to begin production very shortly, according to Gunn himself. While Cena's famous persona and Gunn's proven track record in the superhero genre has sparked early excitement for the project, many fans still don't know the Suicide Squad remains a bit of an unknown at this point, as its cast and crew's pedigree attempts to overcome the universally negative response to the first film. Nah. Say what you want with what WB did with that film. It was still a very exciting, great movie to watch. So it wasn't a universally hated film. The fact that Cena's show will begin production before his film even premieres seems like a massive vote of confidence in both the star and Gunn. But it will be some time before fans have a chance to judge the final product for themselves. No shit, Sherlock. Gunn has confirmed that the Peacemaker show will be officially part of the greater DCEU, setting it apart from Matt Reeves' Gotham PD, which is set in the Batman's universe. And of course, there's no confirmation that the Batman isn't set within the DCEU. It's probably not. I don't think it is. But, you know, we've got to calm down a bit. We just don't know yet. Anyway, we'll be part of the greater DCEU, setting it apart from Matt Reeves' Gotham PD, which is set in the Batman's universe, and other shows like Titans and Doom Patrol. In an Instagram post, Gunn shared some casting news for the series and confirmed it's in universe status. Thanks HBO Max for being a great partner so far and letting us do something truly over the top. The caption reads, and yes, for those of you asking, this show is connected to the DC film universe. Yes, I think we will be the first show to air that is. Say that again, sorry. This show is connected to the DC film universe. I think we'll be the first show to air that is. That's interesting what he's saying. But I want to talk about really how proud I am, how the evolution of the DCEU has become from Man of Steel to BVS to Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, right? Forget about Justice League, Aquaman, Shazam, you know, James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, and now Peacemaker. The evolution of this franchise is beautiful. And not forgetting Birds of Prey, because I have issues with that film, but a lot of people like that film. And I respect those people for liking that film. So it's such a diverse universe now, the DC Extended Universe. And that only brings pride to me. You know, absolutely fantastic. This is a landmark announcement, though, not a shocking one for the future of DC's live-action content, as it reflects a push towards combining transmedia properties into the same shared universe. The multiverse model introduced earlier this year will allow for some outstanding films and shows that vary notably in style content, like Joker and the Batman. Still, Warner Brothers has remained adamant that the future of the main DCEU is the priority. Look, everything. Let me be clear here before I finish this off. Everything is the priority. Everything. The whole franchise, all the projects. There isn't one priority. Everything's the priority. When everything's the priority, you get something better. You get a filmmaker. Focus on your thing. Here's a filmmaker. Focus on your thing. We may want you to put this person from that film in. Is that cool? Yeah. But you do your thing. That's the whole idea here. Given the success Disney has had on Disney Plus with The Mandalorian and their upcoming Marvel projects like WandaVision and The Falcon and The Winter Soldier, it makes sense that Warner Brothers would follow suit with a similar structure on HBO Max. While Gunn's contributions to the DCEU remain unproven, there's a lot of promise in what his distinct style could bring. With all that in mind, Peacemaker should be a trailblazing series for DC in more ways than one. Look, I'm really excited for Peacemaker, and we've got so much more news to give you this morning about Peacemaker. Lots of casting news, but I have absolute trust in James Gunn. I think he's an okay guy, but you and me don't have to like him as a person or worry that he's come from the MCU. That doesn't matter. What matters is he's an artist, he knows what he's doing, and he's going to give DC something it hasn't had before, and that's incredibly exciting. Yes, we've got lots of Peacemaker news for you. The casting news is in. Well, the first one anyway. Suicide Squad's Peacemaker spin-off casts Orange is the New Black star as new character. Orange is the New Black's Danielle Brooks will join the HBO Max Peacemaker series, a spin-off based on John Cena's character from the Suicide Squad movie. This is by Farid. Let's just call it Farid El Ghafi. Let's go for it anyway. James Gunn's Peacemaker series adds Orange is the New Black actress Danielle Brooks to the production. The HBO Max series is a spin-off of the Suicide Squad featuring John Cena's character, the eponymous maniac who Cena described as a douchey Captain America. It's still too early to know what exactly the series will look like or what shenanigans Peacemaker will get up to. Gunn's refusal to, douchey Captain America. It's still too early to know what exactly the series will look like or what shenanigans Peacemaker will get up to. Gunn's refusal to place the series before or after the Suicide Squad means Peacemaker may yet die in his silver screen debut. That's a good point. What we do know is that it follows the lesser-known DC anti-hero who employs his immense wealth, physical prowess, and prosperity for murder to bring peace to the world, even if he has to burn it down in the process. Sounds like I don't know this character. I haven't read this character in DC Comics before, but he sounds really interesting, and I'm really excited with the direction Gunn is going in with this. Gunn first got involved in the DCEU after he was fired and before being rehired by Disney from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, with DC producers likely hoping Gunn would work some of his Guardians of the Galaxy magic, which I believe he will. He was hired to write and direct the sequel of reboot of 2016's disastrous Suicide Squad. It wasn't disastrous! Jesus Christ! In the intervening time between his DC and Marvel film projects, Gunn decided to make a Peacemaker spin-off because he was bored during quarantine. Of course, this is not true. I think it was always the plan. It's interesting, because the whole idea was that he was going to rush off to start Guardians, but he seems like he's really excited about remaining with the DCEU. As I say, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I've told you guys and girls this before, is going to be his last project with Disney. They didn't treat him very well when they fired him, and he's not going to forget that. And he's very grateful to Walter Hamada and Warner Media for giving him a chance when nobody else would. Deadline reports that Cena has a co-star in Orange is the New Black veteran Danielle Brooks. Brooks played secondary protagonist Tasha Tasty Jefferson on the Netflix comedy drama about a woman's correctional facility, a recipient of 3 SAG and 2 NAACP awards. Brooks also starred on Broadway in the Tony Award-winning The Color Purple revival. Now she's joining Cena and Steve Agee, who plays John Econos, as Leota Adebayo. Brooks is certainly a talented and up-and-coming young actress, and Gunn tweeted his excitement to be working with her when the article was released. Brooks was a very large part of Orange is the New Black, a fan favourite, and the leading lady of a number of show seasons. Unfortunately, her Peacemaker character is shrouded in mystery. No details have been released regarding how she relates to Cena's character and his past. As the first confirmed Peacemaker star not to also have a role in the Suicide Squad, they couldn't have picked up a better TV veteran. Yeah, I tell you what, it's a big coup from James Gunn. A lot of people wanted her, and I'm really excited about this casting. It remains to be seen who of the squad will join Peacemaker in his own series, but Gunn has confirmed that a number of his colleagues will make an appearance. Despite the pandemic hitting both the DCEU and MCU hard, Gunn is chugging along between both. Now under quarantine for 2 mandatory weeks in Canada, the writer-director says he's preparing to start filming Peacemaker. It seems it's only a matter of time before we learn just what Peacemaker and Adebayo are up to. And I can't wait. Yeah, a great piece of casting news, big coup for James Gunn. And this project is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. All of a sudden, the Suicide Squad universe is getting huge. And that can only be brilliant for us, the fans. But the Peacemaker casting just didn't stop there, because they have cast veteran actor, X-Files and Terminator 2 actor, Robert Patrick. Really excited about this casting. And is it Jennifer Holland? Yeah, and Jennifer Holland in the Peacemaker series as well. So Peacemaker TV show cast Robert Patrick and Jennifer Holland. HBO Max's Peacemaker TV series, a spin-off of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, starring John Cena, adds Robert Patrick and Jennifer Holland to its cast by Daniel Gillespie. HBO Max's Peacemaker TV series, a spin-off of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, starring John Cena, adds Robert Patrick and Jennifer Holland to its cast. The show, which Gunn wrote, who will also direct several episodes, follows Cena's the Suicide Squad character, who is so determined to keep the peace, he'll kill anyone who gets in his way. Gunn has revealed he's already in Canada undergoing his mandatory 2-week quarantine ahead of shooting, hinting that the filming on the show will start soon. Cena leads the cast in the 8-episode series and will be joined by Steve Agee, who also reprises one of his Suicide Squad roles, John Ecken. I'm sorry to do this repetitive stuff, but they're doing it in the articles. In the show, Agee also provided the motion capture performance for King Shark in Gunn's reboot sequel. Wow, I didn't know that. To David Ayer's critically panned 2016 movie, Shut Up. Though he won't be playing that character in Peacemaker, the TV show about the character Gunn has called the world's biggest douchebag was announced back in September and was reportedly developed by the director while he was bored during COVID-19 quarantine. The media do like going with this bullshit, don't they? Today, alongside the news that Orange is the New Black's Daniel Brooks and Patriots Chris Conrad, we'll talk about him in another article, actually, as Vigilante. Yeah, I really want to talk about Vigilante. That's big news. Will join the Peacemaker cast. Gunn announced via Instagram that Patrick and Holland will be rounding out the cast. Patrick will play a character called Augie Smith, while Holland will play Amelia Harcourt, reprising her role from the Suicide Squad. Wow. Gunn added that he couldn't not be stoked. Yeah, he said he couldn't not be stoked to have the T-1000 Patrick and his favourite TV Dennis Conrad joining the show. He also confirmed the show is part of the DC Extended Universe, with the post saying that he believes it will be the first DC TV show to tie into the DCEU officially. You can see the post below. And I just want to say further on that, isn't that exciting? You know, after Justice League, we were hearing about reboots and things like that. But now the DCEU is going from strength to strength. It makes you want to binge those films again and again and again and get ready for all of this, doesn't it? This is from James Gunn's Instagram. I get to share too much good news with you guys today. He actually liked it when I congratulated him on all the casting. Also joining the cast of Peacemaker is Rip Fighter as Augie Smith, Jennifer Holland reprising her role as Amelia Harcourt from the Suicide Squad movie, and Chris Conrad as Adrian Chase Vigilante. We're going to be talking more about him. How could I not be stoked having the Terminator 2 and Dennis from my favourite TV show ever? And of course, could not be stoked having the Terminator 2 and Dennis from my favourite TV show ever. And of course, Jen joining John Cena and Daniel B in our show. Thanks HBO Max for being a great partner so far and letting us do something truly over the top. And yes, for those who are asking, this show is connected to the DC film universe. We've done this before. I think we'll be the first show to air that is. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wow. WB Pictures. Gods. You see, this is brilliant. Someone like him saying, you know what, Warner Brothers and HBO Max, you're brilliant. You're letting me do whatever I want. This is what we fought for, Snyder community. So artists like Zack and James would have creative freedom. This is a beautiful thing. The new regime of WB has been created. This is why I sometimes, when, Ray Fisher starts with all this and that, it's over, it's in the past, we're getting what we want. Move on, mate. He won't, never mind. While Patrick's role is not a character from the comics, Holland's is. The actor who is Gunn's real-life partner. Ooh, nepotism, James. Well, it's part of Hollywood, isn't it? Is best known for playing Becky in the limited series Sun Records, but has also appeared in Brightburn. That's right. Great movie, by the way. The superhero horror film produced by Gunn and written by his brothers Brian and Mark. She's reprising her role from the Suicide Squad, hopefully a sign that her character is crucial to the story and not down to nepotism. I think we can safely say it's a bit of both. Listen, this is how the industry works. I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with her or James doing this. It's one of those things. It does wind me up, nepotism, but what can you do? On the other hand, if I don't cough and clear my throat once a video, you know there's something wrong with me. On the other hand, Patrick is best known for appearing as the villain in Terminator 2 Judgment Day and has more recently starred in Scorpion, Sons of Anarchy spin-off, Mayans MC, whatever that is, given his history and ability to hold viewers rapt with his villainous gaze and snarling sneer, Patrick's role is likely to be that of a villain or a criminal Peacemaker faces. However, that is pure speculation at this point. What is sure is, with the cast filling out, Peacemaker is beginning to take shape. Hang on a minute, Screen Rant. Robert Patrick was also filling in for Fox Mulder in the X-Files. They put him in as a co-lead with Gillian Anderson for a few seasons. He was amazing. He played FBI agent Dogger. He was awesome. How could you not mention that? Anyway, there's even more. I want to talk about the other stuff as well with Peacemaker because this really is exciting. And I'm so up for what's going on now. And you have to congratulate WB and HBO Max and DC because they gave us fandom. The development stage kept on going. The MCU has been relatively quiet. Only now Kevin Feige is now talking about some of the projects coming to Disney+. So it's been a great year to be a DC fan. Do you know what? This is the biggest part of the Peacemaker casting. Chris Conrad has been cast as Vigilante. Now, if you remember right, was it Adrian Chase, aka Vigilante, was cast in the Arrowverse, in the Arrow TV series. Now, this was a fucking brilliant version of the character. And actually, this was after the first 2 seasons of Arrow, where I kind of gave up on it, but came back to it because of this character and what they did with it. What he puts Oliver Queen through in that season is sensational. It's one of the best seasons of Arrow. It's a really great version of the character. So, James Gunn has a lot to live up to with this character. Peacemaker TV show cast Chris Conrad as Vigilante. I've got a lot of time for Chris, I must say. It's a great piece of casting. HBO Max's Peacemaker TV show starring John Cena revealed several castings today, including Chris Conrad as the character Vigilante Adrian Chase by Rebecca Van Acker. Actor Chris Conrad has nabbed the role of Adrian Chase Vigilante in Peacemaker. HBO Max's upcoming show, John Cena will play Peacemaker, who's one of the new characters in the Suicide Squad. Directed by James Gunn, Season 1 of the series will consist of 8 episodes, with Gunn writing all and directing several. Though the Suicide Squad doesn't come out until next year, Warner Brothers is clearly confident in Peacemaker's appeal. Other characters from the movie will also appear in the spin-off show, including Steve Aggie's. God, we're going through this again, right? Though specific details about the show are hard to come by, it's now clear Adrian Chase's Vigilante will play a role. Vigilante is actually the name given to several characters in DC Comics. The Adrian Chase version is a New York City district attorney who loses his wife and kids after they're attacked by mobsters. This leads him to seek justice as a vigilante. Adrian Chase was notably played by Josh Segarra, brilliantly on Arrow and became one of the series' most important villains. However, Arrow's version of the character was ultimately a combination of Adrian Chase and Prometheus. This is true. A different DC villain, but I tell you what, a lot to live up to. You have James Gunn to actually get near what happened there. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Conrad will specifically play Adrian Chase Vigilante in Peacemaker. Gunn confirmed the news on social media soon after. Conrad has guest starred on several shows and recently played New Leaf on Epix's Perpetual Grace Ltd. No other details about his role were given, though mentioning Chase and Vigilante seems to imply Peacemaker will hew more closely to the character's comic book story than Arrow did. Exactly. James Gunn has everything in place to do this character of vigilante justice. Considering Peacemaker is on track to start filming soon, I think we've been here. Yeah, basically, really awesome that we're getting Vigilante. We're getting Adrian Chase in this. As they said, the character kind of swerved away in Arrowverse from its comic book roots. They gave us a couple of versions of that character, really. And this is something new. And, of course, this will be done in James Gunn's style. So the villain will be kind of swaying towards humour and dramatic element. He'll still be a villain, and he'll still be an effective villain. But it's very exciting news. And now I've got you all updated with Peacemaker. Yes, send me a medal, please. That was really awesome. I got so excited. Anyway, this is our head story today. Now, this came from Zack Snyder being on the Nerdqueeds channel the other day, and he actually was talking about a version of Catwoman being, I think he said this, being married to Batfleck before Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. And don't forget, he was in bed with a woman in BVS, that we didn't see that woman. Do you remember that? So all very interesting. So these are the details about this. This really piqued my interest when I read it yesterday. Unfortunately, I found out about this after I did yesterday's videos. So apologies, but we're here now. Let's discuss it. Catwoman teased to be part of Zack Snyder's DCEU. Justice League director Zack Snyder teases Catwoman is part of his DC universe and might have a history with Ben Affleck's Batman. Will she appear? Might. Let's have a look. Justice League director Zack Snyder is teasing the existence of Catwoman in his DC universe. During his original tenure with DC, Snyder was given almost free rein to do as he pleased, although he started to lose some control with Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice and eventually walked away from Justice League. Snyder had elaborate plans for a 5-part story. This plan grew to include solo films for Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Batman and more. And Snyder's natural instinct to pepper his films with details helped set up the expansive universe. The true extent of Snyder's plans are starting to be realised. Thanks to HBO Max, the streaming service answered the bell and became the home of the Snyder Cut. After over 2 years of a massive fan campaign, Snyder fueled the fire by constantly dropping teasers of what his Justice League would look like. But he didn't stop there. He shared plenty of teasers about what he had planned for the future, and the Snyder Cut will bring some of them to life. This will include bringing more DC heroes to the screen, such as Martian Manhunter, the Atom, and possibly even Green Lantern, and villains like Darkseid, Deathstroke, and Jared Leto's Joker. Exciting, isn't it? Now Snyder is teasing what role Catwoman could play in his DC universe. He recently participated in a live stream chat with the Nerd Queens to discuss several topics, and that included Catwoman. Snyder suggested that Catwoman and Ben Affleck's Batman might have been romantically involved a decade before. Wow! With Catwoman and Batman's romance having plenty of supporters from the comics, the tease excited many. But Snyder didn't stop there, as he has now shared an image on Vero of Catwoman and Batman. Wow! Look at this. Can I actually tap into this? Oh, yeah, look at this. This is a beautiful piece of art. I don't think it's not. Is it Snyder's art? Well, I'm not sure. I don't think so. But anyway, brilliant. So I think we can safely say that Catwoman and Batman had a thing 10 years before BVS, which is really exciting. It is unclear how much Snyder ever thought about actually including Catwoman in his prior DC movies of Justice League. He shared several different ideas about what backstory could possibly work for Catwoman and Batman to have a history in his universe. Since Snyder is typically quite assured of what his actual story plans are. The on-spot explanation of Catwoman and Batman's history doesn't sound like a story point he's thought about much before. I think he has. I think she's going to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League. I think we're going to see her in the Nightmare Future, and she's going to be part of the gang that helps Batman and everyone else bring down Darkseid. I think she's going to be in it, and I think you can take that to the bank. Even if Snyder never planned on including Catwoman, I think he did, in his DC stories, it's possible these teases could represent him changing his tune. He liked the suggestion that Carlo Gugino, who was in Sucker Punch and Watchmen for Snyder, would be a great choice for Catwoman. In fact, about a year or two ago, she was posting and responding to people, I think it was BatmanNews.com or something, saying, yeah, let's do this. Not only could she pull off Selena Kyle's personality, but Gugino happens to be the same age as Affleck to sell the romance. If there is any additional photography on Justice League still happening. Interestingly enough, Zach didn't elaborate on that with the Nerd Queens, I don't think. I think he's still there. Or maybe he's not. Who knows? I think we would have known by a Vero post if it was over. I don't think it is, by the way. Right, Kyle's personality. But Gugino happens to be the same age as Affleck to sell the romance. If there is any additional photography on Justice League still happening, perhaps Snyder will find a way to include Catwoman. His working relationship with Gugino could even help convince her to play the part on short notice. But if it's too late for Catwoman to be in Justice League, maybe Snyder will use any new ideas for her if it gets to make Justice League 2, which he will. I think she's going to be in Justice League 1. I think we're going to see her, not very much of her. I think he's planned this. This is not about him coming to the Nerd Queens talking about it and going, oh, I know, I'm gonna use this actress I've worked with before as Catwoman. Isn't that good? I've just made it all up. You know, they were together a decade before. Of course not. This is a man who meticulously, I can't even think of the word, but, you know, really deeply plans everything. So he wouldn't just throw something just because he's been talking to the Nerd Queens. This has been in the planning all along. Meticulously. Meticulously. That's the word I was looking for. This is a guy who meticulously plans everything. So expect to see Catwoman, if not in Justice League 1, but in Justice League 2. And I think she was originally going to be involved in Ben Affleck's The Batman. Think about that for a moment. Zack Snyder is a big fan of the Dark Knight Returns graphic novel, and I think when he was with the Nerd Queens the other day, he said he'd love to make a Dark Knight Returns movie. And now, I know what you're all saying, but isn't that pretty much the same thing as BVS? No, it's nothing like it. It's a very, very different movie, so you could still have them fighting. It would be a very different film. And in fact, I think it would do better with the mainstream audience than BVS did. It's something everyone would love to see. Now, I don't think everyone's going to be going, who doesn't like Zack, going, oh, yeah, he's talking about doing that. I think people will be negative about it, but I certainly think Zack could pull it off. Zack Snyder would love to make a Dark Knight Returns movie. Zack Snyder's Justice League director, Zack Snyder, says that he would love the opportunity to make a movie based on The Dark Knight Returns by Tiffany Wang. Director Zack Snyder says he would love to make a movie based on The Dark Knight Returns. Batman is one of DC's most iconic superheroes. Batman's origin story starts when he's young. He's a young boy and watches as his parents are murdered in the alleyway. The traumatic experience deeply affects Bruce, who eventually takes up the mantle of Batman to keep Gotham safe. Ben Affleck played Batman in the DC Extended Universe, and he's returning for reshoots in Zack Snyder's Justice League and the Flash movie. Batman has had many incredible comic book stories. However, The Dark Knight Returns is arguably one of the hero's most memorable. The 4-issue miniseries centers around a much older, already retired Bruce Wayne. That being said, Bruce decides to return to fighting crime. Despite pushback from both Gotham Police and the US government, Bruce stages his own death at the end of the series, and The Dark Knight Returns concludes with the Bat making preparations to continue to protect his city. The miniseries also features many familiar Batman characters, including James Gordon, Two-Face, the Joker, and Selena Kyle. Snyder stopped by the Nerd Queens League of Mayhem stream. There he revealed that he would be interested in making a film based on The Dark Knight Returns. He says that he's obsessed with the miniseries and that it's his dream to eventually turn the story into a film. You can check out Snyder's full statement on the subject below. I saw a tweet recently like, Snyder needs to stop reading The Dark Knight Returns. He needs to read another Batman comic. I almost tweeted back. I'm sure J. Oliver replied, like there aren't any others. I'm so obsessed with that comic. I've always thought that maybe one day down the road, as a one-off, just as a crusty old Batman, we just do it. It's a dream I have. Wow, yeah, I'd like to see him do it, definitely. This isn't the first time that Snyder has expressed interest in The Dark Knight Returns. In fact, the director stated back in March that he felt a movie could be made out of the miniseries. More specifically, Snyder even mentioned that The Dark Knight Returns helped inspire certain elements of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. To that end, it's clear that The Dark Knight Returns has had a significant impact on Snyder's work, even if he hasn't had a chance to develop it into a movie of his own yet. As of right now, Snyder has his hands full with Zack Snyder's Justice League. The project is set to debut on HBO Max next year and is currently undergoing reshoots. But very, very interesting for him to blatantly say again he would love to do it. I think one day he could have that opportunity. I think he would do a great job. I love the two-part movie animated series that they did. I think J. Oliver had a big part to play in it. Did he direct that? I can't remember. Anyway, it's a great story, and I'd love Zack to do it. And it really is brilliant. You look at a character who's older now. He hasn't got his youth. He's old. He's tired, but he fights beyond the pain. It's a great look. It's a great story, and I'd love Zack to do it. Yeah, our final article of the day is a negative one. Petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 has over 900k signatures. What is the future of Amber within the DCEU? We've had clarification a few weeks ago that Amber was going to remain, but things are getting deeper and deeper with this. I'll give you my opinion. I've given you my opinion before, but I'll give it again after I read this article. After Johnny Depp's exit from Fantastic Beasts 3, a petition calling for Amber Heard's firing from Aquaman 2 has reached over 900k signatures by Molly Fezzer. A petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2 reaches over 900k signatures. Heard first appeared as Mera, the Princess of Exebel, one of the underwater kingdoms in Zack Snyder's Justice League in 2017. Now, it's not Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's Justice League, for your information. She went on to reprise her role opposite Jason Momoa in 2018's Aquaman. Now the highest-grossing DC movie of all time, Heard is set to return for Aquaman 2 in 2022. Heard has lately been the centre of a controversy with ex-husband Johnny Depp. Sorry, I'll tell you what happened there. Notifications, I hate them. Depp and Heard, who met on the set of the 2011 film The Rum Diary. I bet you Johnny wishes he never went on that film. Married on Depp's private island in the Bahamas in 2015. After filing for divorce in 2016, Heard obtained a restraining order against Depp, accusing him of physically and verbally abusing her over allegations against the actor, including Depp trying to have Heard fired from Aquaman and prevent her from being hired on another Warner Brothers project. All of the troubling allegations led to criticism over Depp being cast as Grindelwald in the Fantastic Beasts films in 2016. Depp sued Heard for defamation in 2019 after she wrote an op-ed for the Washington Post claiming to be a victim of domestic violence during their short-lived marriage. Depp also sued the UK publication The Sun after they called him a wife-beater in one of their articles. The case went to trial in July, and last Monday the judge ruled against Depp, stating that he believed there was enough evidence to support Heard's claims. Shortly after, Depp announced that he was asked to resign from Fantastic Beasts 3, with the studio confirming he would be recast. The decision led to outrage from fans who launched an online petition demanding that Heard be fired from Aquaman 2. Believing that Heard should face the same consequence as Depp, the Change.org petition, titled Remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2, has reached over 900k signatures. The petition reads, Amber Heard has been exposed as a domestic abuser by Johnny Depp in his $50 million lawsuit. Johnny Depp describes many incidents of domestic abuse that he suffered at the hands of his then wife, Amber Heard, including one incident where she punched him twice in the face and another where she shattered his finger with a vodka bottle and his finger had to be surgically reattached. He will bear the scar for the rest of his life. You know, cry me a fucking river, Johnny Depp fans. And I was watching Alice in Wonderland, and I love both those Alice in Wonderland movies. Johnny Depp is a phenomenal actor, and I was thinking this. But this doesn't make him a paragon of virtue or anything. Why did Amber punch him in the face? What happened to his finger? Why did she feel compelled to do that? Because we know the truth here, that this couple were taking lumps out of each other, allegedly, right? So they're both as bad as each other. The petition also points out that Heard was arrested back in 2009 for domestic abuse of her former partner. Interesting. Noting a pattern from the actress, it also claims that Heard has attempted to ruin Depp's career since their divorce, making false claims of abuse and causing him to be pulled from projects. The petition referring to the abusive behaviour that Depp accused Heard of during his court case. With the petition nearly reaching 1 million signatures, it's clear that Depp has many supporters who want to see Heard face the same fate as Depp. Interestingly, Warner Bros. has say over both Harry Potter franchise and the DC Extended Universe. Though Heard recently reshot her scenes for the Snyder Cut of Justice League, Warner Bros. Could eventually decide to ask her to step down from Aquaman 2. My opinion, Amber Heard is going nowhere. Now, it's clear, allegedly, that Amber may have some temper issues. But so, allegedly, it seems, has Johnny Depp. There's no innocent party here. In fact, if I was the studio, when these legal things, when they were taking each other to court, I would have said, right, you two, stop it, right? You don't want to be together. You're taking lumps out of each other. We insist now that you both take counselling, not couples counselling. That ship has sailed, right? You take counselling, right? You're on the studio. We do not want this shit getting out to the public persona. And it has. And now everyone's taking a side. I refuse to take a side. Johnny Depp, right? You did what you did. Take your medicine. Amber Heard, you did what you did. Take your medicine. Get counselling. Get help. End off. So you could both be making the films that you want to make. Isn't it a shame that this could hurt your careers? It's an absolute tragedy. No, I do not think that Amber Heard will be leaving Aquaman 2 anytime soon. If Warner Media are allowing her to be in Zack Snyder's Justice League, she is definitely set in cement to be in Aquaman 2. I do not want another recast. It's pathetic. We saw her in the first film. Let her get on with it. And I will not be signing this petition anytime soon. Remember, you can tag me on Twitter as well, @MoviesTVMad. Why isn't anyone doing it? Am I that crap or shit or unlikable? Or am I scary? I've got a big mouth. Don't worry about it. I'm quite nice. Don't DM me. I'm not interested in direct messages. But you can tag me on Twitter and ask me anything that I will shout you out for here on the DCEU Daily or on the specific video you asked me to make. You can suggest articles, topics, politics, entertainment, individual TV shows from your youth. I will talk about absolutely anything and give you a shout out. So tag me on Twitter @MoviesTVMad. And yet again, my loyal follower, Scott Edwards, has asked me and done that. He's asked me a question. Here's my question for tomorrow's DCEU Daily. Some people in the Arrowverse fandom say Sarah Lance, White Canary, isn't worthy of a Justice League spot. What do you think of this? I've got a lot of time for Katie Lotz as an artist and a lot of time for White Canary. Yes, she's brilliant. She's absolutely fantastic. The performance of being the leader of the Wave Rider, she's brilliant in that. You really look up to her as a leader. And she absolutely deserves her place in the Arrowverse Justice League. I mean, the issue is with the amount of people who could be a part of that. Heckling Superman has to be a member. Benoist Supergirl has to be a part of that. We're getting a Batman in Batwoman. Surely he has to be a part of a future Arrowverse Justice League. And there's other characters as well. There's obviously Grant Gusting's The Flash. So is there enough room for her in it? Of course there is. I think she deserves to be a member. I think she's a great... I think the problem is with her, maybe why people don't like her, is because maybe... how can I put this? Legends of Tomorrow is an acquired taste. It's very comedic, and they may see her as a silly comedic character. But she's a very good character. And, Katie is a really good actor. And she's done a great job with this character because she was a more of a darker character when we first met her on Arrow. And then, of course, they had to water her down a little bit for Legends of Tomorrow because there's more humour in that show. But she still has that air of kind of leadership, doesn't she? So I think she's fantastic, Scott. And I definitely think she's earned the right to be part of the Arrowverse's Justice League, if that answers your question. And thank you for posting that. Please Post questions for me so I can answer them at the end of every DCEU Daily. Thank you very much. Critics and feminists called Joker a white incel. Joaquin Phoenix Joker wasn't a man who suffered with serious mental health issues and needed compassion before he got to that state of killing all those people and doing all those terrible things. That's just an excuse, apparently. But then I want to bring in Killmonger from Black Panther, where everyone's kind of saying, oh, it's understandable that he becomes what he becomes after what happened to him, right? Because of institutional racism, you see what happens. You see, because Killmonger is a person of colour, he's allowed to do what he wants and kill who he wants because it's understandable. But Joker, Arthur Fleck's character, it's not understandable. Stop making excuses for this white incel. He's just a bad person. He's just a horrible white man. Yeah? You see what's happening? The very thing that happened 30 or 40 years ago when, black people were accused of crimes, right? The labeling, the stereotypes of black people, horrible stereotypes. I remember as a young man. Now, this is happening to white men. There was a big conversation going on during the build-up and marketing of Joker movie that all this character was an excuse for white incels to do terrible things. So it's okay for a gentleman of colour to cause crimes, but a white man is just a white incel. And I remember that conversation, and I just wanted to quickly put it out there for you how different the conversations are these days. The poisonous atmosphere towards that film before anyone had even seen it, right? And this is the reason the film didn't win Best Picture, because it was a Best Picture. And Todd Phillips was the best director of that year. But they decided to take that away from him. And basically, I'm happy for Joaquin Phoenix that he won the Best Actor Oscar. That's the least that film deserved, and Joaquin deserves it. His work, his effortless, hard work on that character. It's not easy to do what he did in that role. So I'm happy for it. It's just very sad that such negative depravity was used to kind of the toxicity against the film, against Todd, against Joaquin was disgusting. They were scaring people into not going to see the film. It was despicable, and it was all about extreme left versus extreme right. The two loudest voices, the two hateful voices in politics. This is what I keep on talking about, weaponizing entertainment. But thankfully, despite all of that, the Joker movie made over $1 billion. Joaquin won countless of awards, as did the film, and Todd Phillips. Meanwhile, the left's film, Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn was an absolute bitter failure, made by an all-female production company, all-female leads. And guess what? The male villain was the most popular. The male villain that they tried to paint as a toxic male was more loved by men and women than the actual female characters. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that funny? Anyway, what do you think about all of that? What do you think about everything I've spoken about today? Peacemaker, all the casting news, ever so exciting, isn't it? How far the DCEU has come as well is absolutely fantastic. So comment down below, like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to tag me on Twitter with any questions or any topic suggestions. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.